Hey, welcome and welcome back to the stash. You know that feeling when a book you love starts to slip? Not in a big dramatic way, but little by little. The spark fades, the excitement dies down, and you find yourself picking up the latest issue more out of habit than hype. That's where I've been with Ultimate Spider-Man lately. It's a book I want to love. A book that started off so strong with so much potential. But over the past few issues, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. That it had lost its momentum. That it was holding back. And then came issue 18. And, well, sometimes all it takes is one issue to remind you why you still cared in the first place. I really needed this issue to be good, and I'm so glad that, for the most part, it was. Before we get to that though, I want to take a quick second to say that here at The Stash, we're trying to reach 12.5 thousand subscribers before the end of the month. It's a huge ask, but with your help, I know we can do it, so if you like Spidey or just comic content in general, feel free to stick around and maybe hit that subscribe button. But anyway, with all that being said, let's jump right back into the video. So our story begins with Peter Parker preparing to go back home to New York City. Harry arrives in his private jet ready to pick up his best friend, and the two finally reunite after Osborn was presumed dead for several months. But that's not all, because Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson both also appear outside of the jet. Jonah asks where Richard is. Peter tells him he's back at the camp. He's even upset for not being able to come along. But then Ben asks why would Richard, a young teenager, be sad at something like that? But Peter leaves that reveal for a surprise. The two then share a hug, and now with nothing left to do, Peter and Harry Osborn say their goodbyes as they set off for New York. Gwen Stacy, however, wasn't present throughout any of that though, because she's currently stuck in the middle of an important meeting with the other Mysterios. The council is pretty divided over her recent actions. Most though see it as a reckless move for their larger operation, but one mysterious woman doesn't think so, and even applauds Gwen for taking action. And anyway, with her being the voice of reason, the council then prepares to put their plan in motion. Later on, the amazing Spider-Man and the Green Goblin once again traverse the bustling streets of New York City. They agree to meet Gwen within an hour, but they have some time to kill. And what better way to kill said time than to fight some crime? From Shocker to Hammerhead to even Vermin, they're fully in the swing of things once again, possibly better than ever before. And now with only 15 minutes left before they go to meet Gwen, Peter decides to check in on his apartment. Upon reaching his home, he finds it to be a complete mess, with the culprit being Otto Octavius, no thanks to Harry sending him here to be a security guard of sorts while they were away. Peter's not exactly happy about it in the moment, but soon after he does apologize since Harry had his best intentions at heart. He also knows that for him to be able to do his job the best he can, he needs to know that his family is safe. But little does Peter know someone in his family is in grave danger. We cut back to hours ago, to the start of the story. The two heroes had just left and MJ and the rest are back at the caravan. However, when she reaches the door, she finds a peculiar note from Richard. It turns out that when texting Felicia, who's now basically his girlfriend, she told him that she desperately needs his help. So naturally, Richard dons the picotech suit, which allows him to go invisible, and he sneaks onto the plane his dad took. This is also where he and Peter also found out that Gwen is Mysterio. Back in the present though, and Richard has finally made it to Felicia. Unbeknownst to him that this was all a massive trap, for the Kingpin himself has orchestrated the entire thing. He knows Richard works closely with Spider-Man, and so one way or the other, he will hand him over to the Kingpin. Richard is filled with anxiety. He turns straight to the Black Cat and asks if she was lying the whole time about them. She calmly says no. Richard then asks, "Why would you do this?" With Felicia, the Black Cat simply replying with that it's in her nature. Now when it comes to Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man as of late, I gotta admit, I've been really worried. Worried that it was losing its steam, that it was prioritizing the wrong things, that all of a sudden I wasn't excited for the new releases as much as I once was. So when I picked up this issue and gave it an honest try with a clear mind, I was surprised in the best possible way. Now that's not to say it's without fault. How my past concerns aren't magically erased, but I like what was here, and what was here was enough to pick my interest back up. I feel we needed this issue. We basically had filler for the last several issues, and when a book releases monthly and follows real time, filler for that long is the last thing you want. We finally got some proper Spidey goodness in this one too, with the main man KICKPIN back on pencils as well. Messina does a pretty good job as a stand-in, don't get me wrong, but when you see Marco's name on the cover, you just know it's the real deal. I adore his style. I love the way he captures his characters, sets, and atmosphere. Especially in this issue too, it's probably one of the best displays of his artwork we've ever gotten. New York looks beautiful, and I love the entire vibe the city had. In just a few pages, he truly made it feel like the city that never sleeps, and my god, it was just so nice to see him draw Spidey again beyond the cover. Although I will say, I don't really like how many times the covers feel like they're baiting us. For some reason, when it comes to USM, their covers either never happen within the story or are just extremely exaggerated. This one wasn't too bad in that sense, but I mean, come on, we used to get genuine covers back in the day. Anyway, I like seeing Spidey back in action properly again, instead of him just being made a toy by the Sandman, although I just wish we had more of it. In the 18 issues we've had of the new Ultimate Spider-Man, he's barely had any fully fledged out battles. Compare that to the OG USM, where within 18 issues he fought the Green Goblin, the Enforcers, Electro, Kingpin, and Doc Ock, all the while maintaining an incredible foundation for the story, its characters, and the world building. So while I do think that overall this is a great book and definitely the best Spider-Man comic on the market right now, I don't think it compares to the original Ultimate Spider-Man. Well, at least the issues with just Bendis and Bagley on them, but that's just me. I guess what I really want is more. That's the most frustrating part of the series. We just get so little. The monthly release can be okay, even though I feel like this book should be every fortnight or so, but having their world move in real time kills a lot of things for me. We miss so many crucial parts of the characters and their relationship. For example, I love how Hickman displays a genuine, healthy relationship between Peter and MJ. When we do see it, it's a highlight of the book. My problem is, we rarely do see it though. In our case here, we had one issue show MJ scared, and the next she's fine because a month had passed for them. That's all cool and all, but I want to see what happens in between. I want to see them work things out. I want to see the true character moments that define them as husband and wife. Whether it's a companion series, an annual issue, even spending those few months on filler on Peter and MJ. Anything at this point would be a massive step up, since we don't really get anything of the sorts. Issue 12 is honestly probably my favorite issue of the series, and it doesn't even feature Spider-Man, but what it nails is the personal inner character moments. It nails the real conflict a family can have, but most importantly, it nails at making everyone feel human and real. And I think if this book took a little bit more time focusing on that in any way, shape or form for the main characters of Peter and MJ and their family, then personally, I'd enjoy this already great book even more. But I will say though, what we got here is a much needed step in the right direction. The urgency within the story is back, and the stakes feel real again. Also, I'm wondering if the ending is harkening back to the early Spectacular Spider-Man days at all. I just saw like a little bit of similarities there. I think that it could possibly be true, since Hickman's sort of been taking little parts from 616 Spidey, but just using his own sort of unique twist with them. Also, I just really missed the dynamic between Peter and Harry Osborn. Seeing it in just full force here was such a joy to read. It felt like the book was missing something when they separated, and the fact that they're back now and just sort of bantering between each other and taking on criminals in the underworld, it was probably one of the best parts of the book for me. Also, before I forget, there's one thing I want to ask you guys about this issue. Who do we think this woman is? Now, in my opinion, judging from the white streaks in her hair and how Wesley is also a Mysterio, I'm thinking this could maybe be the 6160 version of Vanessa. I mean, it could literally be anyone. Who would have guessed Captain Stacy, Robbie Robertson, Wesley, and Gwen Stacy would be a Mysterio? At this point, Vanessa very well could be one of them as well. But anyway, overall, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 18 isn't perfect, but it's exactly what this series, in my opinion, needed right now. After a stretch of issues that felt like they were just filling space, this one reminded me of the heart, the energy, and the promise this book started with. It brought back that feeling, that excitement I used to have when a new issue dropped. And sure, the cracks are still there. The real-time storytelling still skips over moments I desperately want to see. The monthly release still feels like it's holding the narrative back, and honestly, I wish we got more time with Peter and MJ. Not just snapshots of their lives, but the raw human moments that make them feel real. But even with all that said, there's something about this issue that reignited the spark. Kakemo's art breathed life back into the city. The pacing finally moved with purpose, and for the first time in a while, it felt like the book had something to say again. It felt like Spider-Man was back, not just in costume, but in spirit. That's the thing about Hickman's take. When it works, it really works. You feel the weight, the love, the intention behind it all. So while this series still has some growing to do, this issue gave me something I hadn't felt in a while. Hope. Hope that this book can be more than just a modern remix. That it can be something truly special.